Hey guys, before we begin the video, I want to give a shout out to Zelative Art. They made me an imp from Helluva Boss. I had a fan art contest going on Twitter, and I'll be showing the other entries at the end of the video. Just something I want to start doing now in the future for people who make fan art for me. Thank you very much, guys. So this channel's been known to cover characters that I think are terrible, but when I use the word terrible, that doesn't automatically mean I think they're poorly written. Granted, some characters are poorly written in my opinion, but for the most part I'm talking about their characteristics. One of the flagship comparisons I made on this channel, which people still question as to why I compared the two, was Chloe Price and Travis Touchdown. The two aren't one-for-one characters, but that misses the point of the comparison. In my eyes, they're both terrible characters, i.e. how they're designed to be unlikable, but both have countless people that like them as characters despite their negative traits. I obviously have my preferences if you've been on this channel before, but I bring this up to talk about just because a character is terrible or does terrible things doesn't mean that they're a bad character. At least in my eyes. Rather, it falls into the writing to see if I like or dislike a character as well as their actions, which leads us to today's subject. Recently, Helluva Boss Season 2 dropped, and while I have my own issues with the series, both from a writing and technical standpoint, I still maintain it's an entertaining and good series. The amount of people needed to create the series, as well as how it's able to fight against YouTube's algorithm, is something that's important to point out. Vivziepop has talent, and that is to be applauded. Of course, the creator isn't perfect, and has a lot of controversies to her name. Granted, this isn't the video to talk about that. I'm just bringing this up so you guys know that I'm aware of this stuff. But we're focusing on the show and a character in particular. Loona. So let's start off with a question. Who is Loona? Also, I'm not gonna hold your hand on Helluva Boss. The series is free to watch on YouTube. Every episode is out and about. You have no reason not to watch it unless you don't like this stuff. Okay, let's go.
Wow, I feel so loved here.
I'm gonna be frank. Loona's a bitch.
I got you a little something.
Is it a cure for syphilis?
Oh.
Then I don't
Of course, if you're familiar with the series, you don't need me to tell you that. She's loud, she's annoying, and much like a lot of terrible people, she's a snob at times. So, here's a question. Why do people like her?
Come on, you know why.
You know the kind of freaks up there who drool all over you.
Yes, well, let's sidestep that for now, and let's really consider Loona's status as a character, shall we? Honestly, if there's one thing that Vivziepop is really good at, it's character design. Not only are the designs of her characters rather creative and have a unique style to them, but they also offer a lot more once you consider the setting they're in. Loona is no different in that regard. He's in hell, the bottom ring of hell no less. The place where sinning human souls go. Throw in the fact that Vivziepop herself said on a live stream,
top of the food chain is Lucifer, and he's like the runner, you know, he's like the king of all of it. Charlie's underneath him, because she's his heir. Underneath him is the 7 deadly sins, and underneath them is the Ars Goetia, and then underneath them is the overlords. The overlords are underneath them. Then underneath the overlords are the regular sinner class, and then underneath them is the some of like the succubus and the incubus and some of the other demon classes in hell. And then on pretty the low bottom is like imps and hellhounds are like kind of the bottom of this society, which is why Helluva is about the imps, because it's basically like the working class of this entire society, and they have all these other classes above them. Like even the sinning class is technically above them, and they have to work the retail jobs or like the, you know, whatever job in the sinner's world.
They're the middle to lower class.
Yeah, exactly.
imps and hellhounds are on the bottom of society. Hell, there are some points where she's just referred to as a hellhound.
Y'all haven't met my boss Blitz and his hellhound.
I'm not just his hellhound.
Yeah, she's my daughter.
Only on paper.
Now, we need to consider some interesting thoughts here, because you've got a lot of potential to really make Loona into a dynamic character. You've got a character who's on the bottom of the social food chain, so to speak. Someone who was adopted by Blitz, thus making the implication of an orphan background, and since we're in hell, it's possible that she didn't have a happy childhood. And considering that we've seen in episode 1 of season 2 of Helluva Boss, even a character like Blitz still had more of an innocent side to him when he was younger, even having a brotherly relationship with Fizzaroli. So you have the makings to show how a character becomes this way. Hell, Loona's adopted by the arguably main character of the show, and that could be leading to some interesting developments. Like, was there a specific reason Blitz chose Loona? Why does he have such strong feelings for her despite the fact that Loona is more than willing to browbeat her father, quote unquote? Is there some sort of distaste between hellhounds and imps, and does that play into the character itself? That's one of the strengths of Vivziepop's world building too. It opens up a lot of potential questions that can lead to a lot of great character moments. Granted, I don't care for some of the information being presented in materials outside the show itself, but hey, that's just something I have a problem with concerning a ton of other IPs too. So this raises the question, who is Loona, and why is she like this?
Okay, she didn't do anything wrong.
Now before I continue with this video, I need to make it clear by the time you're watching this, that depending on how quick I can make the assets and how fast my editor is,
I'm working on it!
it's possible that my complaints will be answered. Whether or not that's the case, time will tell, but these things can still be applied to the first season. So, Loona, you've got a ton of potential, tons of questions, and obvious fur bait that has drawn the attention of a lot of people. Don't deny it.
Shut up, dear furry!
But the problem is that up to this point, we barely have anything to go off of with her. There's hardly anything to her backstory outside the occasional glimpse here and there. And that's really the biggest problem I have. Hell, the fact that Luna's position as Blitz's adopted daughter and co-worker for the Imps should involve a lot more development for her.
Foxy, stop shaking. You're gonna shoot our only hellhound.
Wow, I feel so loved here.
Now, that's a joke, but considering other aspects in the show as well as how Loona gets referred to as just a hellhound later in the season, I have no doubt that it's going to come up in the series in Season 2. But Season 1 doesn't do anything with it. Loona is a flat character in there. Now, I do intend on talking about Episode 3 and 6, since I know for a fact that people are furiously typing in the comments to defend Loona, but before that, I need to talk about character development and the types of development that there are. This isn't a be-all, end-all, but typically characters tend to fall into 5 different broad types in writing: dynamic, round, static, stock, and symbolic. To give a brief overview of what these character types are like so you can follow my logic going forward, dynamic characters are ones that change over the course of a story. Round is a major character that shows changes and has the ability to change from the moment we meet them. Static is a character that doesn't change all that much over the course of the story. Stock is a character with fixed personality traits, and symbolic is when a character represents a theme or concept more than themselves. Now that I've brought this up, let's talk about Episode 3. I won't be explaining the full plot, but notes are that Loona gets a crush on a new hellhound, Vortex. Vortex works for Blitz's ex, Verosica, and hijinks ensue. It's a premise with potential, and this is the first time that we as the audience see Loona in a different light, and not just the human form of her. We see her feeling and emotion outside of just being an angst bitch. Hell, we even get this line.
Oh yeah? I wish I had friends. I mean, I don't have friends.
But nothing really comes from it. Like, a line like that should cause some sort of realization for the character, but nope, nothing. Now, you can say I'm being nitpicky, and fair enough. It wouldn't be the first time I was reading too much into smaller things, and how something like that could shoot me in the back simply because I stated.
Not again!
But I would argue that this could have been used for character development, even on the smallest of levels. I mean, if people are willing to take even the smallest aspects of a show and roll with it, why not lines like this? Especially if it could be used to craft development for the characters. However, you want to know what isn't character development? Learning that Loona can express other emotions other than bitchiness. That is not development. That's expanding the character, and there is a difference. Development has the character grow from an action, and then expanding the character just shows they have more to them than just their initial character traits. To make it easy to understand, it's like thinking a character who likes coffee also enjoys boba tea. That's just learning more about the character, not the character growing or developing from the events in the story. Just because we learn more information about a character, that doesn't equate to the character gaining development. Now let's get to a more murkier example.
Fuck, Blitz! Why can't you stay out of my face for like 5 minutes?
Because I adopted you! And that should mean something!
Oh, what does it matter? You're not my real dad. I was almost 18.
It still counts!
Well, it shouldn't. I didn't need you then, asshole. I don't now.
I'd argue that this isn't development either. This is more or less providing information about Loona and Blitz's relationship. And we also learned this isn't the first time this has happened.
Blitz,
Enjoy your break, Looney. I'm gonna go kill something.
Damn, girl, that was savage. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. He'll get over it. He always does.
Now, this can be argued to be development in the making since Loona is feeling negative emotions in how she treated Blitz, but considering he'll get over it, he always does, it makes it seem like this is something that has happened before, obviously by the wording, and something that Loona hasn't really grown from. Now, this is totally something that you consider to be based on interpretation, as I can see people saying that Loona did grow from this point. We've seen in preview of Season 2 that there seems to be more going on between the adoptive father and daughter dynamic, but to me, we don't really see Loona change after this episode, at least not in a notable way. Now, a good counter-argument is in episode 6, where she protects the Grim War and is willing to go Blitzkrieg mode to help protect Blitz. Then again, that's more in line for an episodic show. Most of the episodes are in a vacuum, at least until Season 1 finale and Season 2's opener. And while there is a plotline, I'd be arguing if it didn't feel like the characters didn't float around every once in a while and lack development. To make it clear, I'm not saying that expanding on a character is a bad thing. Being able to learn more information about a character is good. As stated before though, information such as Loona saying she doesn't have friends or that she and Blitz are getting into arguments are things that expand upon the character, and more information on that character is good. But we don't have the why. That's the biggest issue. Why is this character like this? Why is Loona a bitch? Why is Blitz fawning over Loona? And to make it clear, I don't hate Loona as a character. She's got a lot of entertaining moments.
Okay, I'm here.
But most of what we got is preparation for development, meaning there's a good chance that the character is going to get development that I want her to get. It's the rub of talking about an ongoing series that your criticisms can be negated or confirmed beforehand, but there are still criticisms that can be levied.
Don't panic, Moxie!
I'm not panicking, because hellquakes don't happen.
Stop getting hysterical, fatty!
However, the biggest issue is motivation, and a lack of reason to why Loona is the way she is. Again, I admit that it's possible at the time of me writing this, we could get an episode immediately that slaps my entire video's issues into the dirt, and hey, if that does happen, then I'll actually be happy with that. But let's continue with this section. Let's consider Loona's treatment of Moxie.
This is fucking beautiful.
Clearly there's something going on, and I'm not hating on Loona for treating Moxie terribly. I've seen a few people say that's why they dislike her, and hey, fair enough, but again, why does she hate him? Is there something going on between imps and hellhounds?
I don't know.
Granted, a lot of the show's focuses on the imps and Stolas. Lots of owl demon.
No, permission not granted.
It's why I consider Loona to fall into the camp of static character, with slight chances of a round character in the mix. She's a character that hasn't really gotten a chance to grow, and for a character that's in the main group, I think that's kind of sad. Then again, you can say the same thing about Millie. Millie's a good character, and as a couple with Moxie, it's a fun time. However, there have been times that Millie gets sidelined in order to make Moxie look better. Actually, that's a good thing to bring up right now. So if there's one established character trait amongst the group of imp, it's that Millie and Loona don't like each other that much. Most of it stems from how Loona treats Moxie like garbage, with the possibility of prejudice being between imps and hellhounds being a factor there.
The only reason you have a wife is because you're easy to manage.
No, he's not, you bitch!
So the two characters don't like each other, and that's pretty much a good character dynamic right there. And we get to episode 6 where Blitz and Moxie get captured by agents. Loona and Millie need to work together, putting aside their differences in order to save them. This is actually a very common trope, where two characters who have been known to be at best incompatible with each other, or at worst were enemies, will put aside their differences in order to succeed on something. Albeit at times it's not so easy to do, but the characters will often put aside their differences after a little struggling and allow the two to co-op with each other for victory. It's an older trope, and one that's very clearly effective, allowing characters who hate each other or such learn a bit more about each other, and sometimes become even a little bit closer in the process. Hell, even getting a mutual respect for each other, even if it's small. That's something I really wanted to see with this episode, and by doing so, you could have given both Loona and Millie some development, and while they still could dislike each other and Loona could still be a shit to Moxie, there could have at least been some level of respect given to each other.
You're pretty agile for an old lady.
I'm like 5 years older than you.
Hell, for the show that represents relationships between characters, there really isn't one between the two of the female leads in the show. We barely get anything between the two, and we could have seen them struggle, learning more about each other and possibly get more insight into why they hate each other. Instead, most of the episode is just showing how badass the group is with more character development given to Blitz and Moxie, which is fine, but I still maintain it's a missed opportunity. Granted, what I'm saying here is basically nothing more than fluff, since to a lot of people, they just like Loona.
Come on. You know why.
Hell, a lot of people just like how the characters are. I don't mean to come off as downplaying the development that is in the show already, but I see missed potential and opportunity to make the rest of the cast shine. And hey, I like Loona too. I'd be lying if I said she was completely a flat character, because Loona isn't. Loona has a bit of characterization. If you take the pilot for example, she's the one in contact with the client. She gets mad when she learns the imps have been going to the human world without disguises, and still follows Blitz's orders in episode 6 to prevent things from getting worse. And hey, Loona does come to help Blitz and Moxie when they're fighting Stryker. Kinda makes things worse, but hey, the fact she even showed up is amazing. Loona has potential, but at the moment, that's all it is. Potential. The biggest issues are her past as well as her lack of development. There's a lot of potential in both those to make Loona really into a stellar character outside her wicked design and overall bitchy attitude that draws people to her. And maybe I'm jumping the gun a bit too soon, but hey, content is content. So what's the point of this video? Well, aside from giving my editor a paycheck, I do honestly like Loona as a character, but all I can really say is I like her design as a character, not what makes her into a character. As I've been saying throughout the video, there's a chance that maybe real soon that we'll have more development and explanation for Loona's past. I want to see that potential fulfilled though. Because, hey, Loona's got a lot of interesting materials to work with, and she's got a large amount of fan base that may or may not be raising their pitchforks at me for this video as I speak this right now.
Shut it!
Oh well, I guess we'll find out soon enough. In any case, thank you for your time, and I hope you had a great day. And if you made it to this point in the video, please leave a comment, Hellhound, to let me know you made it to the end of this video. Thank you very much for your time. I'm MangaKamen, and have a lovely day. Bitches.